Welcome to our next adventure with me, Jason. So let's get started talking about my time and experience at Hotel Cheyenne. So some quick fast facts about Hotel Cheyenne. It is typically the second cheapest or second least expensive. Same thing, but different side of the same coin. And also it comes with all the same perks that you would get whether you're staying at that hotel or the most expensive hotel in Disneyland Paris. It is exactly the same benefits, namely the two most important ones being the extra magic hour in the morning from typically around 8:30 to 9:30 for resort guests only, and I think some annual pass holders. And then from 9:30 onwards, the parks are open for the rest of the public. And the second most useful perk, I believe, is going to be the fact that on the day you arrive, and of course the day you leave, you are able, free of charge, to check in your luggage in storage and then come and collect it. So when your room is ready, you're able to go and get your luggage and put it there. And whilst you wait for it to be ready, you can still go and enjoy your very first day at the theme park, and vice versa on your last day. On your way out or on your way to the theme park, you're able to just go give them your luggage, and then your room will automatically check out, and you can still be enjoying the park. And once you're done for the day and you're ready to move on to your next adventure, you can go back and grab your luggage and be on your way. So that's something to be aware of. You don't need to pay more to get more when it comes to those perks. The other great perk about Hotel Cheyenne is it takes around 20 minutes if you want to walk from the hotel to the entrance to the main Disneyland Paris park and vice versa. And if you were thinking about how long would it take you just to get to Disney Village, it's only going to take around 10 to 15 minutes, of course, either way. So that's really useful. Of course, it can rain in Paris, in particular in Disneyland Paris. And so in the event that the weather's not cooperating, or you just feel like it for whatever reasons it may be, you can take one of the dedicated resort shuttles, which Hotel Cheyenne also has access to, that is going to take you from the hotel and drop you right by the entrance to Disneyland Paris Hotel, literally next to the Mont-le-Valet train station, which is literally right there. So it's absolutely perfect for that instance. And of course, you can take it from there straight to the resort, which is super convenient, especially when you're arriving or leaving with your suitcases. Okay, let's get down to the actual hotel itself. So first and foremost, I have to say, as a whole, the theming is, of course, this sort of Western, I'd say, movie set kind of theme. It's got sort of a self-awareness to it. Like, they know they clearly don't look like a real Western town. And so I think they have quite a lot of fun with that, and it really shows. At the same time, everything was really well kept, well maintained. You could have told me that the hotel opened the day before I got there, and it actually wouldn't have seemed like such a far-fetched thing to say. That's how well in order everything seemed. Now, the reception area is about a 2 to 3 minute walk from where the bus or shuttle will drop you off, depending on how heavy your suitcases are and how they'll slow you down. And just to the left of the reception area, as you're heading towards it, you'll see there's a path that's well signed where you can go and drop off your luggage if you know you're going to need to wait before your room is even ready. Now, the actual reception process, or rather check-in process, was very smooth, very easy. I will note that when I booked, it did send me an email and told me I should print out the confirmation and bring it with me. I did no such thing. It made no sense, and it absolutely made no difference into the speed or lack thereof of my check-in process. And that brings me to the next point. The check-in process was quite slow. There wasn't a lot really needed from my side, ID or passport, etc. But everything else is on their system. I'm not really sure why it's such a slow and long process. And again, I just say this in a relative sense. I'm used to it being pretty snappy, especially because most of your details are there. You paid, it's all good. Now, in the same building as the reception, you also have the Chuck Wagon, which is the hotel's on-site buffet restaurant for breakfast and dinner. You also then have the gift store and one of the only two hotel on-site Starbucks in all of Disneyland Paris. The other one actually being at the nearby Hotel Santa Fe. So that's quite a nice little perk, especially if you're on the move and in a rush and need a little quick bite or coffee towards heading to the park. Okay, let's talk about the rest of the layout of the hotel and then the rooms. Now, the hotel follows this sort of disconnected structuring, or layout rather. You see, all the rooms are located in separate buildings scattered throughout the hotel's property, each building being given the name of a Western folk hero. Now, this is unfortunately where one of my big criticisms and problems actually come with the hotel. And again, even though I was traveling solo and had no kids with me, or I wasn't in a wheelchair or something, this is something that really stuck out to me. And that is that the perimeter of the hotel is paved and has roads and a very thin sort of sidewalk with a little bit of some actual decently done walking areas or paved walkways. But within the hotel areas itself, once you're trying to, let's say, get from maybe your room to the reception, etc., assuming the quickest way is not going to be all the way around the perimeter of the hotel and going straight through, you're going to be encountering the fact that the roads, or basically the area that you'll be walking on, has got loose stone gravel. And of course, if you're in a wheelchair, that's probably very uncomfortable or problematic. If you have kids with strollers, it's probably going to be a bit frustrating or annoying. And certainly for everybody, if you have suitcases, it's going to be a real pain in the you-know-where. So I found that, like, number one was just rough on my suitcases wheels, and one of my suitcases was really heavy. So there was no option of me just picking it up and going. And that meant that this made me effectively kind of drag this along every now and again. It was very frustrating and very annoying, and certainly a problem that was noticeable, especially considering I stayed there for one night. So on check-in day, I was doing that to bring it to my room, and on the day I was checking out, which was literally the next day, I was dragging them from my room to go and check them in at the luggage again. So something just to raise awareness to. So please just be aware of that in case it is somewhat of an issue for you. Just something to consider. As far as the room is concerned, I have to say that I was pleasantly okay with the room. It was really nice. The bed was comfortable. I found it more than spacious enough to put my luggage down, and easily could imagine that fitting with comfort 3 people and their luggage, if that is what it came down to. So I think it's spacious enough. The bed was comfortable. It was clean. My only complaint really has to do with the bathroom, and I would learn later during the rest of my Paris trip that this was not certainly a problem just with Hotel Cheyenne, nor with Disneyland Paris, but actually just Paris as a whole. And I say this because I have been around the south of France quite a bit, and I don't ever recall this issue being the case. But that was that the water pressure was horrifically weak to non-existent. And that had a knock-on effect, of course, which was that when I did intend to have my shower, I got in, turned it on, and noticed, okay, well, the water is, kind of just lazily falling down. It's barely spraying from the shower head. And then on top of that, it took over 5 minutes. I eventually timed this. Over 5 minutes for the water to go from ice cold to noticeably warmer than ice cold, such that by the time I was realistically halfway through actually having my shower, only then did the water temperature get to a more than satisfactory temperature to what I wanted it to be within the first few seconds of turning it on, not literally several minutes later. But that's it. I think in the bigger picture of the world and all the complexities out there, this is a nice problem to have. So personally, I really liked Hotel Cheyenne. I actually think it's a fantastic hotel for kids and adults alike. I actually think it's a little bit more geared towards adults' enjoyment, because I think they would appreciate, especially in the mornings and the evenings, even just walking around and kind of enjoying the fresh air of the hotel when the theme park hasn't opened yet, or when it's just closed. Having said that, even with the problems I experienced with the water, which again, now that I know about it, there's a simple workaround of just running it earlier. And again, it's not unique to Hotel Cheyenne or to even Disneyland Paris, but rather a Parisian problem as a whole. That's fine. And even so, the gravel thing was actually the only genuine issue I had. And it's something that in the bigger picture of things, I really can't complain, because it was quite short-lived on both the check-in day and the check-out day. But of course, if you have accessibility issues or you do have strollers, it might be a little bit more of a pain for you. But I think it's sort of that give and take decision you've got to make with regards to the price you're paying and what you're getting. And that's what I want to end off on. Like I mentioned, you get the exact same perks, whether you're at Santa Fe, Cheyenne, or Disneyland Paris Hotel, etc., as all the other hotels. And so I found that what really drove me here was the fact that, it met all my bare necessities. The really comfortable bed, more than enough space, fantastically themed hotel, and yes, the staff were excellent, but I expected that in general because Disney's quite known for their service, or at least they've always been in my books. And so who is this for? I think everyone, as long as you're aware of some of the things that you might come across. And you know what? This whole thing about, are you a 10-minute walk away, 20-minute walk away? Forget about it. If it rains, you can take the shuttle, and in which case you're all pretty much in the same boat, or rather bus. And yeah, I had a great time, and I'd happily go back to being in Hotel Cheyenne. If you're new to the channel and you found this useful, please consider subscribing, giving it a thumbs up. And also, if you have any tips or advice or questions, put them in the comment section below. I am always happy to answer and always happy to hear back from you. So that's it from me. I'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye.